වමින් පෙරහැර පවත්වති දෙවියෝ ඔබේ නමින්.
ආයුබෝවන්. උතුම් දළදා සමුදු පිහිටයි ආරක්ෂාවයි රැකවරණයි සැමට ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමින් 2023 අවුරුද්දේ 3 වන කුඹල් පෙරහැර මංගල්‍යයේ වීදි සරන්නට සියල්ල සූදානම්. 7:02ට යෙදුණු සුබ මුහුර්තයෙන් දකුණු දිශාභිමුඛව පෙරහැර ආරම්භ වෙනවා. ඉන්දි රාජා විසින් පෙරහැර කරඬුව වැඩමවීම ඉටු කරනු ලබනවා. ශාස්ත්‍රීයත්වයේම කරන කොටගෙන අපේ රටට යහපතම වේවා, මුළු ලොවටම යහපතම වේවා. අනන්‍ය සම ජාතියක් ඉන්නවා නම් පෙරහැර මංගල්‍යය ඉටු කරන්නට ඒ අපමයි. ඒ නිසා උතුම් වූ වාමශ්‍රී දන්ස්ත්‍රා ධාතුන් වහන්සේ අභිමුව සිදු කරන්නා වූ අසිරිමත් පෙරහැර මංගල්‍යය ඔබ වීදිවල සිට නරඹනවා. හැබැයි වීදිවල සිට නරඹන්නේ නැති ඔබ සැමටම, ලොව පුරා සිටින සැමටම අප රූපකාව්‍යයක් ලෙස මෙය ගෙනෙන්නට සූදානම්. සයිබ ගගනත ඔස්සේ ලොව කොතනක සිටියත් ඔබ මේ පෙරහැර සමගින් වග අප දන්නවා. ඒ නිසා රැඳෙන්න මේ 3 වන කුඹල් පෙරහැර මංගල්‍ය වීදි සරණ මොහොතේ. கோஷிகன்
நன்றி ஜெயநாத். அனைவரையும் வருக வருக என வரவேற்பதோடு இக்காட்சிகளை காண முடியாதவர்கள் டயலாக் தொலைக்காட்சி 119, POTV 20, 310, ஃப்ரீசட் 2 மற்றும் தலதா மாளிகையினுடைய Facebook, YouTube தளங்களினூடாக கண்டுகளிக்க முடியும். இது அசல பெரஹரா. அனைவரும் வருக. சந்துலி, இதோ உங்களுக்கான வாய்ப்பு.
Thank you, Goshigan. The grandest cultural marvel of the nation, the third Kumbal Procession of Sri Dalada Perahera 2023 is about to start the street perambulations. Today, the lead tusker Indiraja, along with all the other great tuskers, are ready to embellish this grand procession. As always, the beauty, the grandeur of this great procession will be enhanced by the elegant Kandian dancers. So, this invitation goes to all of you. Stay tuned with us. Witness this magnificent spiritual sensation.
Dalada Samindu Pihitai. We are delighted to welcome you to the special live broadcast of the third Kumbal Procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2023, brought to you by the Media and Special Projects Bureau of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, Kandy.
You are now seeing the Perahera officials obtaining the permission and blessings of the Diyavadana Nilame, the lay custodian of the sacred tooth relic, before commencing their street perambulations. Diyavadana Nilame to the officiating bhikkhus.
Now the Diyavadana Nilame will be making his way from the upper level Ihalamalaya to the lower level of the chamber known as Pathamalaya of the Vadasitina Maligaya, and he is seen ceremoniously and reverentially carrying the Perahera casket under the protection of the custodian venerating prelate of the Malvadumaration amidst the offering of light, sounds, scents and flowers all the way the upper chamber till it is placed on the awaiting tusker.
Now we are seeing the Perahera casket, which contains 32 relics of Lord Buddha, being placed within the Ranhili gate that is mounted on the lavishly costumed tusker who will uplift the majesty of this great procession. These officials are seen offering flowers and floral garlands to the Perahera casket. And this is the third Kumbal Procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2023. The grand festival of respect that pays homage to the sacred tooth relic to honor Lord Buddha.
This is the devout moment when the royal tusker shall step majestically down from the Mahavahakada, the main entrance, onto the Sandagala, the moonstone, amidst the tune of traditional Nagasingha music in preparation to parade the streets of the Kandian city. Today, the royal tusker will be in the Raja and he will be accompanied by the Tusker Kandula and the Tusker Mian Raja. Are witnessing the grace of the 1713 Perahera that had begun during the reign of King Kirti Sri Meghavarna, who pledged that the relics must be carried around the city once a year. And this tradition still continues, followed by the succession of many ruling kings, prime ministers, and presidents of our country. And moving on, now we are witnessing the great entrance of the first act of the third Kumbal Procession of Kandy Esala Perahera 2023, which is the troop of whip crackers, which is being led by Mr. Upale Jayaratna.
Walking up front with the sound of thunder, whips piercing through the skies, are the whip crackers announcing that the procession has commenced. And these whip masters are tasked with clearing the way for the sacred relic casket and the king.
And if you see closer, you will see these whip cracking masters untying the knots of their whips, symbolizing how religion can soothe the lives and take care of the problems of the human lives in this world.
When looking back at the history in the ancient times, it was the ruling king who would parade the streets in the Perahera. But now, it is the Diyavadana Nilamde Perahera.
The Perahera is believed to be held in prayer for timely rainfall, and the elements of the Perahera is structured in a symbolical way that it paints the imagery of a rainfall. And rain would never be showered without the striking sound of thunder, and these whip wielders are the symbolic imagery of thunder.
You can see that many onlookers who are seated around the city of Kandy to witness this Perahera can be seen throwing thousands of coins to the streets in the belief that this practice will ward off and evil from their loved ones and for the blessings from the sacred tooth relic.
This is a beautiful tradition that highlights the basis for giving, offering, and sharing among the people of our land. Sri Lankans are, in fact, among the top in the world's giving index. That is indeed an outcome from the social influence of Lord Buddha's teaching.
Yes, Pasasna, regardless of how rich or poor they are, they offer their coins in great devotion to joy the Perahera as their minds are conditioned to giving.
An ancient poem translated from the book Sangarajavata recites the story of the Kandy Esala Perahera as follows: the kingdom of Senkadagala. The procession of the month of Asala, held from times ago in favor of the gods above, led by grace of the Buddha, followed by the deities, the Perahera shall perambulate, just as the kings did commemorate. Only those who have mastered the art of whip cracking will be taken to participate in the Kandy Esala Perahera. And next up, we are witnessing the entrance of the fire acrobats, which is being led by Mr. E.D. Tilakaratna.
As we all know, rain does not come with thunder alone. Just as lightning flashes across the skies, the procession too has its flashes of light dancing across. The faces of the people lining the streets to watch. These are the fire dancers who are offering fire, inviting the rain gods to water our lands with water.
Even though it seems very paradox to learn that we offer fire to seek for water, this phenomenon of nature is magnificently depicted by this group of fireball dancers who perform this thrilling stunt of acrobatics while illustrating how lightning comes with the rain.
The turning of the fireballs is called Pandam Palya, which paints the night with varied patterns of light using both hands and feet, along with the thrilling episodes of fire stunts.
And back in the history, Kandian performing arts have been classified into 5 variants, which were known as Wahala Ilangama, Singakari Ilangama, Tambara Pittukari Ilangama, Natum Milangama, and Kavikara Madama. Interestingly, it was the king's order that all 5 of these classifications must be performed in the Perahera, which is a royal order that is still being obeyed since the ancient times till the modern days.
The classifications of Wahala Ilangama that was mentioned before comprises of acts that create a sense of thrill among the spectators, and the fireball dance we see in front of us is one such of example performing the art to the Wahala Ilangama.
The sun, moon, earth, universe, solar month, night and day are all cyclic, And the fireball dance highlights these universal cycles while depicting how they burn and cool us in our life circles. The dancers also paint the fiery cycle of samsara that is flooded with desire, ignorance, and anger that are highlighted by the chakras. Following the fire acrobats, we are now seeing the Buddhist flag bearers represented by the inmates of Pallekele outdoor prison.
The Buddhist flag bearers, who are clad in white national costumes, carrying the most respected flag of Buddhism, while being preceded by the national flag of Sri Lanka. The sight of these Buddhist flags create a sense of tranquility among the spectators, reminding us the fact that this procession is in celebration, devotion, and an offering to great Lord Buddha.
And there's a special reason that Kandy Esala Perahera has these Buddhist flag bearers. It is to reflect the unity of Sri Lanka as a nation. And in front of these Buddhist flag bearers, there's a national flag to symbolize the aforementioned fact.
The Buddhist flag is a symbol of faith and peace. The 6 colors of the flag represent the colors of the aura that emanated from the body of Lord Buddha when he attained the enlightenment under the sacred Bodhi tree. The horizontal stripes represent the races of the world living in harmony, while the vertical stripes represent the eternal world peace.
The flag bearers we see here are the inmates of the Pallekele open prison camp who have been staying in this segment in the Perahera for many years. They too are humans just like us who were once diverted in life in the lieu of wrongdoing that would have been a mistake of theirs or their society. But this participation is a part of the ordeal in releasing them back to the society as corrected humans. And therefore, they are here today to pay homage to the sacred tooth relic in hope for the change they pray for their in lives. Next up, we are seeing the sword bearers represented by the Angampura team of Sri Lanka Air Force.
Walking in great discipline, in their calm and disciplined manner, are the army of sword bearers who provide protection to the Perahera casket.
Since the ancient times, the sacred tooth relic has played an important role in local politics, since it was believed that whoever who holds the sacred tooth relic shall hold the governance of the country. Next up, we are seeing the entrance of the Peramunerala on the back of the great tusker Vasana, who belongs to Sri Ruhunu Mahakataragama Devalaya.
We now see the most magnificent sight of the Perahera, which is the arrival of the very first elephant who will be carrying the Peramune Rala. It is the known of the Perahera that the Peramune Rala, or the front runner of the procession, is the first person on elephant back, and neither officials nor elephants are permitted to parade before the Peramune Rala.
Next up, we are seeing the entrance of the Hedisi troupe of Sri Dalada Maligawa. This is the arrival of the first Hedisi troupe that represent the official musical ensemble who are permanently seconded to the service of Sri Dalada Maligawa, as I mentioned. They perform in dignified presence in front of the procession as a tradition which they practice with majestic skill. In fact, no Panchathura Vadana or traditional orchestra of Sinhalese music that produce sounds using either drums or other musical instruments is permitted before the Hedisi as per the rule of the Kandy Perahera tradition.
Sri Lanka is rich with its own traditional music, and Hedisi, which is dignified as the authentic sound of Sri Lanka. The history of Hedisi take back to the time when the salping of the Jayashree Mahabodhi tree was brought down to Sri Lanka by Sangamitha Therani. This evidence marks the fact that the Hedisi is the oldest traditional orchestra and the Buddhist sound offering in Sri Lankan heritage. Hedisi has the most prominent orchestra of the five-fold musical instrument, too has its own variants that are authentic to various parts of the country, known as Up Country, Low Country, and Sabaragamuwa.
Kanishka, you mentioned about the variants of Hedisi. And the other speciality of Kandy Esala Perahera and its featuring of Hedisi is the pure domination of up-country traditional arts, wherefore this particular Hedisi instrumental performance belongs to the up-country tradition of Hedisi, which is known as Udurata Hedisi in Sinhalese. The musicianship of Hedisi in the Kandy Esala Perahera and for the daily rituals of the Sri Dalada Maligawa are assigned to the most skilled lineages of Hedisi drummers who are Uduwala, Ihalawala, Malagamana and Molagura, who represented the first row of the Hedisi troupe while marching to the beat of the drums. Apart from the key lineages, we also see the presence of other heads lineages in this Perahera representing Vallethuta, Moradanda, Hevavissa, As we can see, Kanishka, they are contributing with great devotion to this celebration. And the leadership of these four lineages that I mentioned before depict the recognition given to them by the king through the way in which they decorate their Hevisi drums using the tassels or savarang. In fact, no musician is permitted to hang these tassels on their drums based upon their own will, as the tassels are a true reward of accomplishment that marks their skill-based seniority and popularity among the rest. And following that, we are now seeing the magnificent entrance of the Gajanayaka Nilame, and the tusker who's carrying the Gajanayaka Nilame is none other than Kotte Raja, who was gifted by Myanmar in the time of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Rohita Bogolagama. And Raja belongs to Venerable Alutnuwara Anuruddha Thero, who is the chief incumbent of Kotte Raja Mahavihara at present. And Raja is a routine participant of Kandy Esala Perahera, coming all the way from the capital of Sri Lanka.
Yes, Pasasna, riding on the second elephant with dignified majesty is the Gajanayaka Nilame of the Sri Dalada Maligawa. The Gajanayaka Nilame is the royal official in charge of the king's troop of elephants, and it was a position given to him directly by the king himself. To symbolize this ancient degree, the Gajanayaka Nilame, who is attired in the traditional Sinhala Mul Ambu, majestically approaches on a tusker while holding the Ankus or the Ankusaya, which is the official symbol of the Gajanayaka Nilame.
And following the Gajanayaka Nilame, now we are witnessing the glamorous performance of the Bulat Padaya dancing troupe, which is being led by Mr. Nalin Jayasekara of Sri Dalada Maligawa. When it comes to Bulat Padaya dance, it is one of the most serene dance performances of the upcountry dance tradition, which provides a welcoming gesture to the audience. The dancers carry a heap of betel leaves on a white cloth with both their hands, and dances in style and discipline, using footwork to the tune of the Gataberea.
It is an interesting fact from history that in the ancient times, the sacred tooth relic had been considered as a private property of the king, and the public had never been permitted in having a chance of worshipping it. It was indeed the thankful move by the King Kirtisi Rajasingha, who declared that the relics need to be taken in procession for the public to witness and venerate in seeking for blessings.
Glamorizing the third Kumbal Procession of Kandy Esala Perahera Mangale 2023, now we are seeing the Tusker Sindhu, who belongs to Venerable Tippatuwave Sri Siddhartha Sumangala Thero of Sri of the Mahanayaka Thero of Malwatta chapter, and Sindhu is carrying an official who's holding the Buddhist flag. Tonight, the Perahera commenced at the auspicious hour of 7:02 p.m, heading towards south through Dalada Vidya, T.S. Senanayaka Vidya, Colombo Road, Kotugadala Vidya and Raja Vidya. Following Sindhu, now we are witnessing the glamorous performance of the Nayandi dancing troupe, which is being led by Mr. Vasanta Rajangana and Mr. Vasanta Gunatilaka.
The Nayandi dance is one of the most significant dance performances of the upcountry tradition that holds a very prominent position in the Kandy Esala Perahera, especially during the Kumbal Procession festivals. The word Nayandi is in fact the name of the costume that is worn by the Nayandi dancers, which is the same costume that is worn by the Canadian West dancers with the exclusion of the devoted headdress that is replaced with a cloth turban with a knot on the head center that is taking the shape of the cobra.
Dances. Now we are seeing the elephant Banda, who belongs to the Honorable Devadanna Nilame of Sri Dalada Maligawa, Honorable Mr. Pradeep Nirangadala. And Banda, in fact, is one of the senior elephants who take part in Kandy Esala Perahera. You can see that Banda is biting his trunk right now, and this is actually believed to be an auspicious sign. And since the ancient times, the elephants in Kandy, it is believed to be as a very auspicious sign.
Indeed, Parasna.
And following Banda, you're witnessing the entrance of the Thalam dance troupe, which is being led by Mr. Nimesh Sumanaratna of Chandananda Buddhist College.
The Thalam potter, or the small set of cymbals, are a vital instrument used in all forms of traditional dancing in Sri Lanka and also in India to maintain the pace and rhythm of the dance. That is technically mentioned as the Titmatra. But here, the Thalam dance considers the these little cymbals as the main prop itself, where the dancers play the cymbals in the denoted rhythm, which aligns the footwork and the hand movements accordingly.
These young performers dash their cymbals in the choreographed rhythm and perform a dance that creates both horizontal and vertical line movements in the space, using the right moves that are designed and maintaining the cultural element of the art.
It is evident that the dance we see here, not only an individual representation, but of a group. The interesting feature regarding the teamwork behind this dance is the presence of a leader, who we as the audience are not bright enough to identify. But in reality, the publicly unidentified yet present leader is the one who directs the entire team in their own ways of communication throughout the Perahera.
And now you're witnessing the Tasker Pulatisi Raja of Sri Dalada Maligawa working with utmost majesty and grace as he is glamorizing the third Kumbal Procession of Kandy Esala Perahera Mangalaya, which is taking place for the 1713th time since its history. Nilesh, actually, Kanishka, there is like a huge connection between the Buddhist culture and elephants. So we compared the Perahera to rain previously, right? And elephants, in fact, they symbolize the rainy clouds of the rain, while the whip crackers symbolized the thunder and the fire acrobats symbolize the lightning. And following that, now we are approaching to the performance of the Pantheru dance performers, who are being led by Mr. Paritha Hapugoda.
The Pantheru is a musical instrument that is used as a rhythm tool across all the three traditions of upcountry, low country and Sabaragamuwa. But the Pantheru dance is exclusively belonging to the Udurata or the upcountry tradition of dance. This instrument is a small brass circular frame with 5 cymbals to it which gives a subtle metallic sound as it shakes.
Yes, Kanishka, and it was originally used to keep up the beat in the chamber of versifiers or the Kavikara module, and is considered as one of the authentic tunes that are engaged with the sound offerings associated with the Dalada Puja. Following the Pantheru dances, now we are witnessing one of the most glamorous icons of Kumbal Procession of Sri Dalada Maligawa Perahera Mangalaya. So this elephant is Gajaba, who belongs to Mr. Ranjit Vijay Singha of the Moravata Devalaya, Yakkala. And he has been one of the most significant icons of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2023. Yes, following the elephant Gajaba, now we are witnessing the glamorous entrance of the mixed folk dance troupe, which is being led by Mr. P.C.B. Vijay Surya.
Traditional dancing in Sri Lanka is segregated into 2 main types, which are Sahastri Natun, or dance performances that are based on healing rituals, and the other being Gaminatun, or folk dance performance. The dance that we see now is a remarkable fusion of not just 1 but 4 different folk dance performers being danced simultaneously in the same spotlight.
In this mixed folk dance, we see the dance artists presenting 4 different folk dances, which are the Thalamputta, the Likeli, Raban, Savara, which we would see being performed as individual dance items across all 5 segments of this majestic Perahera. And this dance act is certainly a snapshot of the beauty of the Sri Lankan folk culture. And let us take a moment to feel the devotion and the passion of these beautiful dancers. And following the mixed folk dances, we see a magnificent sight of the Tusker Singharaja of Sri Dalada Maligawa. Singharaja, in fact, has been very fortunate enough to be one of the casket bearers, frequent casket bearers in Kandy Esala Perahera. And following Singharaja, now we are witnessing the entrance of the West Dance Troupe, which is being led by Mr. Ishanta Ihalavela and Lasantha Vanasekara. And this West dance troupe is escorting the Diyawadana Nilame, or the lay custodian of Sri Dalada Maligawa.
The most unique and most recognized presentation of the Kandian dance heritage is the most fully adored West Natua, or the Kandian West dancer. The Kandian dancer's skill and dance form have been considered as an authentic expression of the Sri Lankan culture.
And this West dance troupe we are seeing right now is conveying us the message that we are about to see the climax of the third Kumbal Procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera Mangalaya 2023.
We are now at the much awaited and the most devout moment of the Perahera, as now we see the royal tusker ceremoniously carrying the Perahera Relic casket guarded by the Dali elephant.
Escorting the way, we also see the Karya Karuvana Korala dressed in white Tuppotia costume. He's the royal official that holds responsibility for all engagements in regard to the offerings, the Perahera and the Relic casket. He's only seconded to the Diyawadana Nilame and is the only person in Perahera who has the permission to walk forwards and backwards during the Perahera. And yes, we have now come to the most awaited and the most devout moment of the third Kumbal Procession procession. We now see the ceremonial tasker Indiraja carrying the sacred relic casket, accompanied by the tuskers Kandula and Mian Raja. Indiraja, Kandula and Mian Raja, all these tuskers belong to Sri Dalada Maligawa. And now we see the entrance of the chamber of versifiers who are following the tuskers who are carrying the sacred tooth relic casket.
This is the chamber of versifiers of the Kavikara Madhua, the group of poets who walk behind the relic casket while singing the virtues of Lord Buddha. These versifiers are holding several instruments, including the panterua and the udakki. And the speciality of the Kavikara Maduva is that the versifiers shall only perform when the relic casket is taken out of the relic chamber.
And following the chamber of versifiers, now we're seeing the West Dance troupe who are escorting the Diyavadana Nilame, the lay custodian of the sacred tooth relic. And this West Dance troupe is being led by Mr. Sanjeeva Perapitiya and Mr. Peter Surasena.
It is the icon of the West dancers who is branding identity of the traditional Sri Lankan dancing across the 7 seas, despite the presence of many artistic dance performers that are authentic to traditional Sri Lankan dance. It is an amusement to hear that this is the same picture that is illustrated on everyone's mind when they hear the phrase Sri Lankan dance, which would be certainly proud of.
Kanishka, there's a very special change and very special thing about Kumbal Procession. Actually, we mentioned about the Diyavadana Nilame, who is the lay custodian of the sacred tooth relic. But the speciality of Kumbal Perahera is he is only taking the streets in the Perahera in the first Kumbal Procession procession. The rest of the 4 Kumbal Procession processions will be taken by the Basnayaka Nilames or the lay custodians of the Satara Mahadevala. We can also see the torch bearers escorting the Basnayaka Nilame of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya. Who is replacing the Diyavadana Nilame today. Actually, this is not a replacement, it is a tradition that from the second Kumbal Perahera to the 5th Kumbal Perahera, the Basnayaka Nilames of the Satara Mahadevalayas will be walking in the Perahera. And now we are seeing Honorable Mahindra Ratwatte, the Basnayaka Nilame of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya of Kandy, and the Basnayaka Nilame of Sri Dadimunda Devalaya Alutnuvara, walking down majestically, escorted by the West dancers, torch bearers, and other majestic officials. this procession is a true reflection of Buddhist worship, while it also represents a frozen image of ancient service known as Rajakarya, where people of different occupational castes perform duties to the king in return for enjoying their utility of royal land and grounds. And that makes the end of the Maha Perahera of the third Kumbal Procession procession of Kandy Esala Perahera Mangalaya, and now we are seeing the commencement of the Sri Mahanatha Devala Perahera. And now you are witnessing the auspicious moment of the godly ornaments of God Natha being taken out of the shrine. And these godly ornaments will join the street perambulations.
Pasasna, the Sri Mahanath Devalaya in Kandy is located right in front of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, where it is considered as the main shrine that is dedicated towards Lord Natha, and one of the oldest buildings in Kandy, and that was built even before the Sri Dalada Maligawa. The procession of Natha Devalaya is the first to follow the Dalada Perahera, due to the belief that God Natha is next in line to attain Buddhahood.
Yes. Associating with the fact you mentioned, Kanishka, let me tell you about these flag bearers, Buddhist flag bearers. So, hence, Lord Natha is considered as the next in line in Buddhahood. Sri Mahanatha Devala Perahera always begins with the Buddhist flag bearers symbolizing his identity. The premises of the Sri Mahanatha Devala that we've been talking about is recognized as the Jayabhumi, or the land with luck, since the time of our ancestors, based on the indication by an ancient Brahmin named Sinkada. According to the legend, this sage Sinkada had once visited this land and has witnessed a hare being chased by a pack of wolves, and with a flick of a moment, the hare had managed to chase the entire pack of wolves by itself, just as it entered the land. Interestingly, it was because of this same Brahmin that evoked the name of Senkadakala to the city of Kandy. And also it should be mentioned that these flag bearers are the civil security officers of Pallakali. And they are taking the streets with devotion and pride to add color to the Sri Mahanatha Devala Perahera of Kandy Esala Perahera. And following the Buddhist flag bearers, now we are seeing a group of Hevisi, which is being led by Mr. S.Y.G. Vijay Sena.
They are contributing with great devotion to this celebration, and the leadership of the four lineages depict the recognition given to them by the king through the way in which they decorate their heavy drums using the tassels or the savara. In fact, no musician is permitted to hang these tassels on their drums based on their own will, as the tassels are a true reward of accomplishment.
here visit troupe of the Sri Dalada Maligawa procession engages in their own routine offerings, the here visit troops of the four Esala Pereheras are the actual lineages who still perform in the daily, weekly, monthly and annual rites and rituals of the particular Devalaya, as Heresi is not just a part of Sri Dalada Maligawa's rituals but is also similarly important to the offerings of the Devala shrines as the main Shabda Puja or offerings towards the respective god. Interestingly, the tunes that are played by these ensembles are the ones that are unique to the respective Devala. The well-known fact behind God Natha is the belief that he's the next in line to attain Buddhahood as Maitri Bodhisattva. We mentioned that a couple of times. He is also identified as Avalokiteshvara in Indian cults. The iconography of God Natha is shown as a gentle young man of fair complexion who holds a lotus flower on his left hand. He is in fact famed as one of the most dominant gods associated in the hill country. Witnessing the glamorous entrance of the elephant Rohana, who belongs to Mr. Varuna Kannangara. And Rohana is a participant of the entire Kandy Esala Perahera Mangalaya. So as we can see, he's walking down the streets in the Sri Mahanatha Devala Perahera with utmost pride. And also, it should be mentioned that Rohana is carrying an official who's holding the flag of God Natha. And following the elephant Rohana, we are witnessing the performance of Savarang dance troupe, which is being led by Mr. Dilshan Shalikar and the team representing the Arya Aesthetic Academy.
Pasasna, if you notice, dance items which involve these tassels are often in the Perahera. But this is not the usual Chamara dance we witnessed previously. This dance, which is recognized as the Savarang dance, is similar to Chamara but with a difference in the prop that is used.
The Savarama, Kanishka, the main tool used by these dancers we are seeing right now, consists of not one but two tassels attached on both its ends, which make it a long version of the chamara instrument. However, the Savarama too is meant to serve the same purpose as the chamara, which is to fan and cool the impending icon of worship, which was traditionally the king, and today the relic casket or the requeries of God.
The choreography of this folk dance, that styled of the up-country tradition, is designed to symbolize fanning, that is performed using different dance steps, different stances, and the visual beauty that is created by these tassels in motion.
Yes, following that Savarang dance troupe, now we are seeing the entrance of the elephant Sakura, who belongs to Mr. Thilina Gamage, the Honorable Magistrate of Colombo. Yes. Following the elephant, now we are witnessing the performance of a glamorous Lee Kelly dance, which is being performed by the students of Shashikala Arts Academy, who's been trained by Mr. H.M.P. Upali Dharmaratna.
Lee Kelly is also another interesting folk dance of the upcountry tradition that consists of performers having two wooden sticks on their hands, who shall dash them together in a rhythmical way, individually and even more among pairs or at times as groups as well. The fast tempo that is performed in several episodes of the Lee Kelly dance creates the sense of energy that truly battles the atmosphere, which once again connects the folk dance with the previously told affiliations with war rehearsing.
Now you're seeing two special elephants. One is Chula, who belongs to Mr. Chanaka Jayasekara, and the other one is Sama, who belongs to Venerable Udwe Dammalu Lokathero, who is the chief incumbent of Alan Mathiniyarama Temple, Kirurapana. It is an interesting fact, Kanishka, that most of these elephants come all the way from faraway cities of Sri Lanka to participate with pride in this majestic cultural sensation. It is something that we all should be very proud of.
Indeed, Pasasna.
Yes. And now, following the two elephants, we can see the Nayandi dance troupe, which is being led by Mr. Asanka Karunaratna.
Many professional Kandyan dancers who perform the West dance in the Kohomba Kankaria, the main healing ritual of the upcountry tradition, are culturally not practicing the West dance elsewhere in social occasions. Due to the same reason, any such ritualistic West dancers who would only perform the Nayandi dance in other social gatherings, events, just as the Perahera itself.
And this Nayandi dance troupe is escorting the majestic elephants who are carrying Apart from the Sri Mahanatha Devalaya in Kandy, there are several other shrines dedicated to God Natha that includes the Vegiriya Natha Devalaya in Gampula and many others. And now we are witnessing the most awaited moment of the Sri Mahanatha Esala Perahera of the third Kumbal Procession. It is none other than the elephant Arjuna, who belongs to Venerable Karantada Panyasila Thero, the chief incumbent of Varukandala Budu Rajamahaviharya Dikpala, who is the ceremonial elephant, is carrying the godly ornament Dhammasena Thero, the chief incumbent of Tisamaharam Rajamahaviharya Happankuta, as well as the elephant Bandara, who belongs to Mr. Amal Tilakaratna of Kegol. As it marks the end of the Sri Mahanatha Esala Perahera, now we are seeing the commencement of the Sri Mahavishnu Esala Perahera of the third Kumbal Procession of Kandy Esala Perahera Mangalaya 2023.
Let us now take a moment to feel the devotion and to worship the godly ornaments of Sri Mahavishnu.
Yes. So when it comes to Sri Mahavishnu Esala Perahera, it begins with the appearance of state flag bearers. And this has a particular reason. God Vishnu is believed to be the guardian of Sri Lanka, and his divine eye is watching over all the cities and states of Sri Lanka. And that is why we see these flags representing the states of this country lead.
The Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya in Kandy that is also prominently identified as the Mahadevalaya or the Great Shrine is the main shrine in the hill capital that is dedicated to Lord Vishnu among the Satara Mahadevalaya in Kandy.
Following the state flag bearers, now we're seeing one of the most significant participants in the Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya in Kandy, the Perahera. This elephant Ranil Vikramasinghe, and he's owned by Mr. Kularatna Vijayatunga of Rankadupatini Devalaya, Kadiyala. And Paraka is today carrying an official who's holding a special flag. And following Paraka, now we are seeing the entrance of the first heavy troop of Sri Mahavishnu Esala Perahera, which is being led by Mr. Saman Priyantha Arambegedara.
It is fascinating to know how all of the blend of all these instruments individually contribute to the symphonic sound of overall ensemble. When musically analyzing the instrument on its own, we see the Dalada is used to create a deep echoing sound, and the thumb natam on the other hand creates a noise that is heard to a far distance, while the Horanava creates a high-pitched wind noise. And all of these put together creates the iconic sound that covers the heritage of Sri Lanka.
As we mentioned before, the god Vishnu is a very special character to all the Sri Lankans. The Pali Sandesha anthology that was written in the 15th century describes Lord Vishnu as the destroyer of Asura, which hints a believed similarity between Lord Vishnu and Rama of the great century, calls this shrine as the Rama Devali, or the shrine that is dedicated to Rama. This is even more evident than the cloth printing in the Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya process, which illustrates the battle of Rama and Ravana.
The Heaviside group of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya is notably special among all the other Heaviside groups that we see throughout the procession, based on several importance. As we know, the inaugural ritual of the Esala Perahera is the Cup Situvima, or the planting of the jack in the auspicious hour, and this piece of jack plant is being cut from the village of Aludnora, that is located the footsteps of the Kaduran Nav, which marks the entrance to the district of Kandy.
Following the Heaviside troop, now we are witnessing the second elephant who is taking the streets in the Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya Perahera. This elephant is Mihin Raja, who is owned by Mr. Neville Vanyarachi. And it is an interesting fact, Kanishka, that all the elephants, and following Mihin Raja, we now see the performance seeing the performance of a Nayandi dance troupe, which is being led by Mr. Sarath Ekanayaka.
The Kandy Esala Perahera not just celebrates the beauty of the Kandian heritage of the dance, but it also creates an arena for the prominent dance artist legends to perform their majestic heritage of lineages in the Perahera. The Nithawala lineage, who we see now performing the Nayandi dance, who descends from the celebrity Kandian dancer Nithawala.
Following the Nayandi dances, now we are witnessing the grand entrance of two majestic elephants. One is Muthu of Muthiangana, or the Muthiangane Muthu, who belongs to Muthiangana Rajamarika Mudyankot. And following the two elephants, now you're witnessing a glamorous dance performance of Pantheru dancers who are being led by Mr. K.G. Dharmasiri of Kodituwakku lineage.
Among the many legends behind the evolution of the Pantheru, one such story describes how the Pantheru is in fact the Chakrayuda or the Sudarshana Chakra of Lord Vishnu. The illustrated appearance of Lord Vishnu is portrayed as a deity with four arms, holding four different objects. To add on to it, the swirling disc that is considered as the most powerful weapon that would defeat the strongest of enemies. In that sense, the Pantheru dance seems literally affiliated and important to engaged as a dance to be performed in this episode of the Perahera.
Yes, Kanishka, indeed. And now we are before a remarkable sight, aren't we? Now we are seeing three magnificent elephants adding colors to the Sri Mahavishnu Devala Perahera. The elephant in the middle is Banda, who belongs to Mr. A.S. Samarakol of Damulpola, and he has been one of the senior participants in the Sri Mahavishnu Devala Perahera. Other elephants accompanying him are Vastu, who belongs to Mr. Pradeep Miyan Palawa, and Sanju belongs to Mr. Jagat Vitana Pinnaduwa, the former member of Parliament, the former member of Basnahira Palat Sabhawa. And next up, we are witnessing another performance of Nayandi, which is being led by Mr. Kondadeniye Samansiri of Saman Arts Academy. There's a special fact that I should mention here, Kanishka. So it is that we discussed about the color blue that we can see everywhere, almost everywhere in this Sri Mahavishnu Devala Perahera. This color blue, in fact, symbolizes the dark complexion, skin complexion of the god Vishnu, who is also known as Uppulvan in Sinhalese. These elephants being dressed in the color of blue. These 900 dancers are in fact escorting the ceremonial elephant who is carrying the godly ornaments of the Lord Vishnu.
The legends believe that Lord Vishnu is the future Buddha after Lord Natha, which is the evident reason as to why we see the procession of Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya following after the procession of Sri Mahanatha Devalaya, according to the traditions of the Kandy Esala Perahera.
The Sri Mahavishnu Devala Perahera. The ceremonial elephant who is carrying the godly ornaments of God Vishnu is the elephant Suranimala, who belongs to Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya of Alutnura, Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya of Kandy, as well as the Sri Mahadadimunda Devalaya of Alutnura, and he's being accompanied by the elephant Chuti Manike, who belongs to Mr. Bharata Amaratunga, and Alapata Athina, who belongs to Mrs. Srishanti Alapata of Alapata. As it marks the end of the Sri Mahavishnu Devala Perahera, now we are ready to commence Sri Mahakataragama Devala procession. And this is the auspicious moment of the godly ornaments of God Kataragama being carried out from the shrine to take part in the street perambulations. And Sri Maha Kataragama Devala processions opens with the appearance of Buddhist flag bearers who are from the Civil Security Department of Sri Lanka. In addition, these Buddhist flags are followed by state flags as well, adding more colors to the Sri Mahakataragama Devala Perahera.
The Sri Mahakataragama Devalaya in Kandy is one of the key places of worship that are dedicated to Lord Kataragama in the city of Kandy. And the speciality of the Sri Mahakataragama Devalaya being the only out of the Satara Maha Devalaya or the four, as it is located in the Kotugodalla Vidya, which was known as the ancient Kavikara Vidya, where the poets of the king had used to reside during the times of royalty.
Following the flag bearers, we are now seeing the first heresy troop of Sri Mahakataragama Devala procession, and this heresy troop is participated by the officials of Sri Mahakataragama Devalaya and Mr. P. James is leading this Hepsi troop.
The heavy troop of Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya too is quite notable when compared to other troops of Hevisi due to the difference in the tone and tempo. The style of the Hevisi not just depends on the regional or the situational variances, but also where
dressed in a gorgeous color of red. Now we are seeing the first elephant who's taking the streets of Sri Maha Kataragama Devala procession. This elephant is none other than Sudumanike, who belongs to Mr. Buddhika Miriyalla. And following Sudumanike, Teru dancing troupe is taking the streets, and this dance troupe is led by Mr. Nimesh Niwanthakal of Nimesh Arts Academy.
attached to it along its rings. The tradition behind the Panterua describes the 5 ways in which the Panterua should be held by the dancers, and we too could carefully notice how the performers chain their hands in between the dancers, perform in circles, perform stunt flips, and many more thrilling episodes.
If you look at the history of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya, it had been built during the reign of King Narendra Singha, who ruled the country from the year 1707 to 1739, where it was considered as personal Devala shrine to the Kandian kings. And following the Pantheru dancers, Kajaya Sekara. Elephants, in fact, Kanishka, has been known as a symbol of victory. Just as we mentioned, elephants as a symbol of Buddhism. So that's why we're seeing these elephants as a significant part of the Kandy Esala Perahera Mangala each year since the ancient history. So next, you will see the Nayandu troupe, which is led by Mr. Gayashan Malagamana of Malagamana Dance Academy, adding colors to the Sri Maha Kataragama Devala procession. Ceremonial elephants who will be who will be carrying and accompanying the godly ornaments of God Kataragama.
Pasasna, if you closely notice, unlike the other four Devala shrines, the chief priest or the Iyer of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devala in Kandy is not of Sinhalese origin, but is in fact an Indian national who is a traditional Brahmanic lineage and is dead before him. And the chief priest or the Iyer that Kanishka mentioned about is leading the way to the ceremonial taskers who are carrying and accompanying the godly ornaments of God Kataragama. And following the chief priest, now you're seeing the most awaited sight, the Sri Maha Kataragama Devala procession. The ceremonial tasker who is carrying the godly ritualities of Logastota Sarada Thiru, and he's being accompanied by the elephant Gamanu, who's dancing to the sweet tune of Hevisi, and he belongs to Mr. R. Arangala of Wayangoda. And the other tasker who's accompanying Esala is none other than the elephant Hadala, who belongs to Venerable. As it marks the end of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devala procession, now we are ready to witness the Sri Maha Pattini Devala procession of the third Kumbal Procession procession of 2023. The auspicious moment of the godly ornaments of the goddess Pattini being carried out from the shrine to take part in the road perambulations. As we see the opening of the Sri Maha Pattini Esala Perahera, we see the Buddhist flag bearers who represent the Civil Security Department of Sri Lanka. And following the Buddhist flag bearers, we see the magnificent entrance of the Hevisi troop. This troop is represented by the officials who are being led by Mr. N.G. Palithanishankar, Mr. N.G. Sirisena and Mr. N.G. Premadasa. The Sri Maha Pattini Devala in Kandy is the only shrine of the Kandyan Satara Devala that is dedicated to the virtuous goddess Pattini, who is also the only female representation among the guardians, deities of the sacred tooth relic. This Devalaya is located in the premises of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, which can be easily reached via the Deva Vidya and is separated from the Sri Mahanatha Devalaya from the ancient Atvidya, which used to be resting grounds for the royal elephants.
When we look at the legend of Goddess Patini is famed as the goddess of chastity and is still considered as the most popular deity among Sri Lankans despite being a goddess of South Indian origin in the 2nd century. And following the Hevesi troop, we see the entrance of the female elephant Manike, who belongs to Mr. Anura Kempitia. Manike is carrying an official who's holding a Buddhist flag. And following Manike, now we see a glamorous Lee Kelly dance. And this dance troupe is led by Miss Anula Chandralatha, representing the Nimal Kumaratunga Arts Academy of Talatu Oya Moragolla. Kanishka Sri Mahapattini Esala Perahera is the only procession in which we can see female dancers adding vibrant colors. Pattini, who is one of the most respected deities in Sri Lanka despite her South Indian origin. And following the legally dance troupe, now we see the elephant Maharagama Sita, who belongs to Mr. S.M. Roshan Samarakkodi. And following Sita, now we are seeing a beautiful group of female dancers performing a special dance item while carrying an equipment which is called kulla in Sinhala.
Pasasna, I would just like to add on one more thing. The male-dominated presence of artists that we saw previously is no longer visible as we see the entrance of the female representations to the Perahera, which is indeed the speciality of the Sri Mahapattini Esala Perahera.
And now we're seeing two magnificent elephants dressed in glamorous clothes, and one is the elephant Raja, who belongs to Mr. Vijay Nilmini in Balangoda, and the other elephant is the elephant Tarindu, who belongs to Venerable Kobagaka Damminga. And following those two elephants, now we're witnessing the entrance of a female Nayandi dance troupe, which is being led by Mr. Mithun Bandara of Mithun Bandara Arts Academy. And also, you are now seeing a mixed folk dance troupe which is being led by Miss Takshila Sirivardhana of Takshila Arts Academy, Yatihalagala.
Goddess Patvini is also affiliated as the goddess of prosperity and said the virtue of prosperity is symbolized in the Perahera in the form of the dance that depicts the roots of prosperity in our economy.
And you are seeing another elephant. This elephant is none other than the female elephant Manike, who belongs to Mrs. Shriyani Gunawardhana of Varakapula. And following Manike, you're seeing the Nayandi dance troupe, who are being led by Mr. Mithun Bandara of Mithun Bandara Arts Academy of Watapura.
As stated before, Goddess Pattini is much more popular among the Sri Lankans due to her power in curing diseases among women and small children. This is the same reason many of the Sri Lankans' low country healing rituals, including the Gam Maduwa, Devil Maduwa and Pahan Maduwa, have accepted its deity as Goddess Pattini. The popularity of these ceremonies can only be to experience and worship this miraculous power of healing.
And these Nayandi dancers are escorting the ceremonial elephant and the Dalai elephants, who are carrying and accompanying the godly ornaments of Goddess Pattini. And the ceremonial elephant today is the elephant Mangala of Girihulla, and he belongs to Mr. Udara Galapati in Girihulla, and he's being accompanied by the elephant Rani, who belongs to P.R. Gonakumbra, and Parami, who belongs to Mr. Samantha Vijayamana of Madagoda. And that marks the end of the third Kumbal Procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2023.
We hope that our country will be blessed with fertility and rains.
May our country prosper. Dalada Samindu Pihitai.